Halo semua, jadi ya selamat pagi buat teman-teman yang ada di Indo dan juga selamat malam buat teman-teman yang ada di US. Jadi sebelum kita, before we start this sharing session, there's gonna be a greetings from our director of academic from PERMIAS Nasional, Bayu.
Uh, Hello everyone. Selamat pagi untuk teman-teman di Indonesia. Selamat malam, selamat sore untuk teman-teman di Amerika Serikat. Terima kasih banyak sudah hadir di acara hari ini. Um, Tujuan kita hari ini untuk sharing ya. Kita mau sharing tips and tricks untuk teman-teman yang berminat untuk ambil ujian GRE dan GMAT. Kami dari Permias Nasional berharap acara ini akan bermanfaat untuk perjalanan studi kalian. Dan enjoy the event. Thank you so much.
So yeah, thank you Bayu for the greetings. Jadi sebelum kita mulai sharing session hari ini, bagi kalian yang udah tahu atau belum tahu, kita hari ini will discuss about GRE and GMAT. Tentunya kita bakal ngomong apa itu GRE and of course like how are gonna differentiate between GRE and GMAT, and then when we have to take GRE or when we have to take GMAT. So yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit about GRE and GMAT first. For GRE, it stands for Graduate Record Examinations, and GMAT stands for Graduate Management Admission Test. So yeah, these two tests mainly they're like mainly for the standardized test for graduate students in the US. Jadi beberapa graduate school yang ada di US, bukan beberapa sih, kebanyakan graduate school yang ada di US, they require you to have either GRE or GMAT in order for you to submit the application to their school. And in today's session, it will be divided into 3 parts. The first one is introduction from me and the speakers, and the main session where Kak Meliana and Kak Zaki as the speakers gonna talk about their main stuff, which is GRE or GMAT, and at the end there's gonna be a follow-up Q&A session. So yeah, let's start for the introduction first. Hi guys, my name is Wilson Halim. I go to University of Connecticut. I'm a junior. I'm currently a junior year and then studying actuarial science. So yeah, Kak Melania dan Kak Zaki boleh introduce themselves. Mungkin mulai dari Kak Zaki dulu.
Ya, oke, halo teman-teman. Kenalin, aku Zaki, first year MBA di Yale sekarang. Jadi di US juga less than a year, dan ya sebelumnya di Indonesia kerja dan kuliah. Lanjut, Kak Mariana.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Eliana. I'm a first year PhD student at UT Austin, studying geoscience. Also graduated from UT with Masters in Energy and Earth Resources. I've lived in Austin for about 6 years on and off. I took GRE back in 2018, and apparently the format of the test changed slightly a few years ago. So hopefully I could still be helpful to some people who would like to take GRE tests. Thanks.
So yeah, thank you Kak Zaki and Kak Melania for introducing yourself. Sebelum kita masuk ke main sessionnya, Kak Meliana akan membawakan topics about GRE, Graduate Record Examinations, and then Kak Zaki akan membawakan a topic about GMAT, Graduate Management Admission Test. So yeah, let's start to our main session. So kita sessionnya mungkin bisa dimulai dari Kak Meliana dulu ya. Mungkin sebagai introduction about what is GRE, mungkin bisa jelasin dulu GRE itu apa, and then after that maybe you can follow up by like with how you get GRE and then the story behind it and why you want to get GRE.
Sure, thanks, Zaki. Oh, sorry, Wilson. Okay, I have just this one slide. that I want to share with everyone. As I mentioned earlier, I took this back in 2018, so it's been a long time ago since I took it. And apparently 2 years ago, the test format has been changed. So first about GR itself, as Wilson said earlier, it's a test, it's a standardized test for like admission to graduate school. I think it used to be for like almost all of US universities, they required it. But ever since COVID, some universities actually waived it because of some limitations on how students can actually take it. I think they offered it. They offered online tests at a time, but yeah, because of COVID, a lot of universities waived it. I actually didn't have to submit GRE for my PhD, but I had to submit it back then for my master's, even though I was applying to the same school, and that's mostly for graduate school that's not business school. So GMAT, Zaki will talk more about it, and Zaki will know more about it. I never took GMAT and never had to, never intended to. But yeah, if you plan to enroll in a graduate school in the US and it's not a business school, you want to check on your admission requirement, whether they require GRE or GMAT, or if they require them at all. If they say they waive it, good for you. But if they do, I guess we're going to this first point that I want to share. First of all, about the timing. So I think when you plan about GRE, you want to backtrack your timeline. So you figure out if you're planning to apply for multiple grad schools, you look into their admission and the ones that require GRE, when is their deadline is, and if like they can accept the GRE test past the deadline, because after you take the test, you don't get to receive the score right away. So you can see your test score, I think, about a week or two. I think 8 to 10 days is where you can see your score. So you want to know. So you probably want to know if the school will get your score in time. So that's why I put in here that you might want to take the test 2 to 6 weeks before the university application deadline, just in case that, yeah, so that the university will get the score in time for your admission. And I say 6 weeks because maybe you're not happy with the score that you got in your test and you want to retake your test. And so let's say you take the test and you can only see your score in 10 days. And so after that, you actually can only take GRE test once every 21 days. And so if you're not happy with your test, you have to you can't take it right away. You have to wait for 21 days first. And so after that, you can take the test again. And so after that, you can send yours, you can decide which score that you want to send to your school for your admission. I think if you end up sending two of them, the school might just like take the higher score, which is a good thing for you. But then again, like if you're happy with your score, and so like you have nothing to like to deal with GRE again after the deadline of the application. And so we talk about when to take the test. And so I say start preparation 1 to 3 months. I think I would say to not delay it, even if you have more time right now. I think a lot of US universities, they have deadlines in December. And most universities also only have fall admission. And so that's just like the usual timeline for the admission. But some school, including one like the engineering school of UT, some of the programs they actually have the spring admission. But definitely you want to check that so you don't miss like the admission that you want to get into. And so like right now, let's say you plan to get into admission to some of universities in the US for like fall next year. And so a lot of the deadlines are in November or December. I would say that you can start preparing for now. I wouldn't recommend you to like delay your preparation. I mean, there's a risk of like losing the momentum. Because like I would say studying for GRE is really like a big commitment. Like it takes a lot of chunk of your life. Literally when I went through this, like all my life is just work and GRE. Like not a lot of anything else going on. So it might be hard for you to like sustain that kind of work or like work-life balance like that for like a long time. So like again, people have different strategies in studying, but what works for me is just kind of put like the study in between all of your activities as much as you can. And I think having a test date set on your calendar kind of motivates you that like, oh, I need to study for this, and then after this date, I'm gonna be done with all of this. So that can like keep you going. Um, and then what I think helped me a lot at the time is this set of 8 books. I know that there's like so many books options out there. You do not have to specifically get like this book that's like published by this publisher, but I just like the idea of having multiple books so that you don't have to bring like 5 pounds of book wherever you want to go, because maybe you don't want to study in your house, you want to study somewhere else, and you want to be able to like study in like any places that you're comfortable with, and having this like 8 books just like help you, like it's just lighter to bring everywhere. And when I was studying for GRE at the time, I had a job in Jakarta, and so it was just easy for me to just like bring this like light book and then go to like a meeting room in my free time to like do some exercises, instead of like having like a 5 pounds book. That's just like, I think it can also look intimidating to you to just like look at the book and like, oh shit, I have to like go through all of this. So yeah, and the way that I did it at a time, I sort of alternate. So like this sets of books. I think they have like 4 books of the verbal and 4 books of the quant. So I just sort of like alternate. Like I finished the verbal book, I finished the quant book, and then so on and so forth. And also, I enrolled in this course that was held by Pascal Education. Um, I think you can look it up on Google. If you look up like Pascal Education Jakarta, you can find them out immediately. So it's basically an intensive 1 month program for GRE and also GMAT. I enrolled the one for the GRE. I think at the time it was like 3 meetings a week. 2 weeknights for like 2 hours from like 8 to 10 p.m. and then one meeting on Saturdays, like sometime in the afternoon. And it will cover like everything that should be covered on the GRE test. And for the essay, at the time I was able to, well, all of the course participants are allowed to like write an essay and then send it to Nick Pascal, who's the instructor of the course, and then he's gonna send you a feedback on like what to improve in your writing and send you sort of like a pseudo score so that you know like how good you are like as a baseline, and then if you can kind of see like how yourself improve over time in terms of the writing. What else? Oh, okay. So the format of the test itself. So I talk about there's some slight changes between the test that I took and what it is right now. So at the time when I took the test, I think it took me 3.5 to 4 hours for me to finish. So basically, there are 2 essays. You have to analyze an issue and you have to analyze an argument, and then like 2 of the verbals and 2 of the quant, and then one surprise section. You definitely can't know whether it's verbal or quant, and also you don't know if that's going to be like which one out of this 4 out of 5 that's going to be taken into account for your scoring. So it was super tricky. I remember I had the extra as my quant. And it's not like significantly harder or easier than the other. I think all of them has the same level. Yeah, same level of toughness, I would say. But the new test, there's just gonna be one essay, which is analyzing an issue. and they took away that research part. So like all of the questions that you're going to answer during the test is going to be taken into account to your final score. And also, I believe that the number of the questions would be less. So like before, each session would have 20 questions. So it's in a total of 160 points. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, 80 questions in total. But like right now, I think it's gonna be much less than that, and that's why the test now only lasts for like about 2 hours instead of the 3.5 hours, and there's a bit 5 minutes break in between. But because the test is shorter now, I don't think they have it anymore. Yeah, I mean, I think I have some tips for the writing. I believe it was handwritten for the essay. And that you're expected to, let's say you were asked to analyze about an issue. I think not the trick, but like you are expected to attack this from like two perspectives. So let's say that you have a stand on A, but then you also know that there's a possibility of B. So I think you also have to address B and why you like can't take a stand on B and like you choose A first. So it's like showing how like more of your critical thinking ability on an issue, not just like looking at something from one perspective. But yeah, that's all I have. I'm done to like answer any questions that you have, and I'll give it over to either Wilson or Zaki. Thanks.
So yeah, thank you so much, Kak Melena, for bringing the topic about GRE. And then for you guys, kalau ada pertanyaan sekarang, you guys don't have to wait until the end of the session, the sharing session. You guys can ask now in the YouTube chat. So yeah, after this is gonna be Kak Zaki. Kak Zaki, you can start.
Oke, halo semuanya. Selamat malam, selamat pagi yang di Indonesia. Let me share my screen. Yeah, so I create like a whole bunch of deck, just so that I can articulate my learning based on GMAT. So this section will be divided into 4 sections. So the first one will be introduction about me, about my GMAT experience, and then we will dig deeper into like GMAT one-on-one, like what's GMAT, why does it important, something like that. And then I will dig deeper into how to prepare for GMAT and how to retake the test if you wanna, take higher score. Yeah, a bit about me. Just like if you wanna contact me, this is my email. I am now ELSOM MBA class of 26. Previously, I worked at ByteDance. I also, before that, I was a product manager in Ajaib and Traveloka. And then my first job was like at Unilever, and I had my undergrad in mechanical engineering, ITB, in class of 2014. And this is my like GMAT experience. So I took 4 GMAT, which is a lot, I know, but because my score is not good enough, so I keep taking the test. I took the whole GMAT test during 2023, and I took first one in January, got 640. I took again in March, I got 680. Took again in June, like 690, and then I took the last test, which is like 710, which is like good enough for me to apply. And this is like the moment of truth, because it's like really near with the deadline of the business school itself during September. So at that point I was thinking like, if I don't get like good score after this, maybe I just apply next year. But thankfully I got the score I want, and I can like apply in time. So yeah, I hope I can give a good learning point from my experience. And then next is, let's dig deeper into like GMAT. So what is GMAT? GMAT is, I forget the abbreviation, like Wilson said it, like graduate management admission test, I think. But it's just designed specifically for business school. So If you wanna take MBA business school, you should take GMAT. Although a lot of business school right now also accept GRE, but I think like most business school applicants will take GMAT. And the test structure is like 3 sections: quant, verbal, and data insight. And it will be 45 minutes each section, so 2 hours and 50 minutes long. And a couple things that you need to know is like it will be taken on a test center, so it's not online. You have to go to like actual test center and take test there. And then you can actually pick which section you want to take first, second, third. So you have like flexibility to choose the section. And then before you take the test, you actually have to put in 5 school that you want this score to be sent to. So yeah, keep in mind that before you take the test, you actually have to list of business school. Keep in mind that you want this score to be used. And then like again, same with Meliana before. GMAT that I took in 2023 is like different than current GMAT. Current GMAT called GMAT Focus Edition, and it's shorter. They remove the essay writing, they remove sentence correction, and the scoring scale also change. So this is like the comparison between scoring of GMAT and GMAT Focus Edition. And for example, if you see that previously, like the general GMAT could score like 700 at least, so like 90% percentile, but right now in GMAT Focus Edition, it was like shift down to 655. So my experience would be different than you, but I hope that this, the share that I will share is like relevant for both type of tests. So yeah, why like GMAT matters, like in business school. Basically GMAT is the only standardized thing that business school can select from you, from among the applicants, because your essays, your recommendation, your profile will be unique for each applicants. But GMAT is like the only standard measuring stick that the business school can compare between you and other applicants. And in general, the better the school, the higher the GMAT median. This is like the first chart of the GMAT mean among business school. And as you can see, like top business school like HBS, Stanford, Wharton will have like very high GMAT. And as you goes down the curve, you can see like not so top business school in below. And also the higher the GMAT score you have, the higher the chance you get admitted. This is like a common curve that shows like the admission rate for each GMAT score is like increasing as you have higher score of GMAT. So GMAT is not the only thing, but I think it's something that can help you get to your, dream school. Yeah, and then let's go to, how to actually prepare to take GMAT. So basically there are like 3 things I would say that you should do to take GMAT. The first one is basically just crunch the material to learn all the basic concept. And then the second is just take the mock test. Third is like once you take the mock test, you can like, see what section you're weak, and you just improve based on that. And then last is take the leap, and take the test and hope for the best. So for crunching the material, I think it's the same with Chameleon as well. Manhattan GMAT prep series, I think is like a very good resource to cover the basics. But again, there are like 9 books, but you don't need the book 8 and 9 because they already removed that section in the newer GMAT format. So this resource, if you can like crunch all the basic concept here, I think it will be a very good baseline. And then the second resource that I use is this book called GMAT Critical Reasoning Bible, because I was struggling with critical reasoning, and I think this is like very, the next step after Manhattan that can give you more understanding of critical reasoning if you struggle with that concept. And then the last is the question banks. Basically, after you understand all the concepts, all the logics of the questions, you can start looking into, start practicing with actual questions. And I think GMAT official guide is like good because it tests on the actual test. So you can actually see how the real question during the test looks like. And then once you like do all of the materials, do all the practicing with the questions, the next step would be to take mock tests. GMAT official practice, actually GMAT website will give you 2 free mock tests. So I would say do leverage these 2 free mock tests and treat it as if like it's a real test so that you can understand, how is the feeling, how is the time pressure and everything. And then once you take those 2 tests and see what's your score, is it good enough? You can like start honing in into part that you are still weak. The trick that I can give you is like in the mock test, you will see right which one is right, which one is wrong, but they will not give you any explanation. And with the trick, what that I do is like I just copy all these questions and paste it into Google and add like GMAT Club in the end. And it will show like GMAT Club page that discuss about that specific question. And I just click it and you will see this page people discussing about, why is this question is A and not B or like vice versa, something like that. So you can learn a lot, I think, from GMAT Club. So do leverage that. And then also like this gmailclub.com is also very good, I think, to practice specific section. So let's say if you struggle with certain section like problem solving, you can like filter questions based on difficulty and also based on subtopics. So, GMAT Club is very good at honing in or like improving specific section of your GMAT test that you're still struggling with. And then yeah, take the leap. If you feel ready, feel confident enough, just take the tests. But some notes is like the spot is very limited in Indonesia, especially. So you got to register at least a month before. And then you also like, as I said again, you have to fill in 5 campus that you want this score is going to be sent to, have a good sleep, and start your day with the best routine you have. If your best routine is like having good breakfast, then having good breakfast. If your best routine is like exercise, running, and do that so that you are like in the best shape when you take the test. And then during the test, think about time management. This is something that I'm struggling, about because you gotta sit there like for almost an hour. So you gotta manage your time management, keep time in check. If a question is too hard, just shoot it and move on. And of course, be calm and confident. And this is like a 3 test center that actually accept GMAT. It's only 3, 1 in Surabaya and 2 in Jakarta. So again, the spot is limited. So do plan ahead. And then the last thing that I want to share is what if you take the test and it's not good enough? What should you do to improve that? Because I myself take 4 times, right? So if you got a bad score, I would say you should consider buying ESR or like enhanced score report. Basically, this ESR thing is like it will enhance your report from this very basic thing of quant, verbal, integrated reasoning, and analytical writing. So only like 4. But ESR will, break down further, let's say your verbal reasoning into 3 subsections. Oh, critical, reading, sentence correction. Which section you're like still struggling and which section you're really good. And even further, it will break down further for each section, like let's say sentence correction. It will break down further into grammar and communication. So you can really pinpoint of which section of topics that you're still struggling with, and you can really improve on that. So I would say if you want to retake the test, buy the ESR for your previous test to analyze everything. And also the ESR also very good because it will give you your difficulty progress. GMAT is like very dynamic, right? As you progress, it will get harder and harder. And you can see how consistent are you in terms of difficulty level, percent correct, and also time management. So you can see whether your time management is good or not, or need to be improved. And then the last, this is like just example of my ESR analysis because this is what I do before I take the last test. At that time, I have 3 scores, right? And as you can see, everything is increasing, both the GMAT score and also like verbal and quantitative. But because I buy ESR, I can pinpoint of what actually the subtopics that I'm struggling with. And I can see like the verbal is reading comprehension and quantitative is like data sufficiency, it goes down. So before the last test, I actually like really drilled down into these 2 subtopics and eventually I get the score around. And then the last part is like if you want to take more mock tests you can buy more from the GMAT official website. They have like 4 more mock tests. And also if you consider wanted to take like bimbel or like less, because I kind of like, love to learn by myself, but I know a lot of people like taking bimbel or less. So if that's helpful for you, take that. And then like the recap, just crunch the materials, understand the basic concept, practice the questions, take the mock tests, take the one that is like free, and then like leverage gmatclub.com to aromat thickness, and then during test day, remember to register in advance. As well, remember basic tactics like time management and life management, be calm and confident. And then if you wanted to retake the test to get higher score, just buy ESR, buy additional mock test if you want to, or like consider taking help from Bimber or less. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. I will refer back to Wilson.
So yeah, thank you so much, Kazaki and Meliana buat ngebawa topics about GRE and GMAT. As you guys know, UT Austin and Yale, they're both good school in the for graduate school. So yeah, this is like something really good, because like we know like GRE and we know from people who get into UT Austin and Yale, and then how they prepare GRE and GMAT. So yeah, to summarize or to make a conclusion about GRE and GMAT. So GRE, basically it's like both of them are standardized to apply for graduate school, but GRE itu mungkin lebih general, soalnya GMAT itu specifically for business graduate school. So GRE itu lebih ke general major apa yang bakal kita ambil buat graduate school. So yeah, after this we're gonna go to our Q&A session. I already have several questions that I want to ask Kazaki and Kak Kamiliana. So yeah, the first question that I want to ask, dari beberapa section dari GRE and GMAT, kan tadi GMAT and GRE ada beberapa section yang harus dites, dan per section itu kan juga ada skornya juga buat nanti di finalize skornya berapa kan. Nah, which section did you find most challenging based on your experience? Jadi kayak section mana yang mungkin effortnya dipakai atau kayak you need more effort to like study this section. Mungkin boleh start dari Kak Meliana dulu ya.
Sure. For me, it's verbal. Yeah, verbal just because I mean, I did geophysics, which is like super STEM, like math heavy and all this stuff. And I'm not saying the quant is easy. It's super tricky because like you don't have a lot of time, and sometimes all of these questions can be super tricky in a way that like you think you know the answer, and then it turns out that that's not what the answer is. But verbal was super challenging, mostly because of the choices of words that they have. And I mean, I don't know about you, but like I've lived here for some years, and I don't think I've ever used like, I don't know, at least 10 of the GRE words that I've encountered in my GRE tasks. Like people don't use those words. So yeah, verbal is totally the biggest challenge. I was actually considering retaking my test because I didn't get like a really good score in verbal. But then I think at the time I was fortunate, I guess, to be able to get a pretty good score in the quant, and it's to a point where I didn't think that I would get at least the same score of quant if I retake the test. So why risk it? And another thing about GRE tests is also I think some school, depending on the school and the program that you're applying to, I don't know this from like people working in admission, but I think it's just like from me and like some friends that like got accepted into some schools with like pretty good quant test results, but like not very good verbal test results, that like maybe some school like only care about like some parts of the test, and it really depends on the major that you're applying to. And in my case, because I'm applying to like the STEM program, probably they don't really care about the verbal, and they only care about the quant. And also another thing about GRE is that I only took the general one, but there's also a GRE subject test. And when I was applying for my PhD, when I was actually planning for my PhD, I was considering to take GRE physics, because the school that I was applying to is a very competitive school. But it turned out that like the research that they're doing, that kind of bridge between my interest and their interest, is um, not really not really the one that I really wanted to do as much as I wanted to do at UT Austin. So I ended up not taking it. So I think that's just like one thing that I missed from mentioning earlier, that like again, check your school requirements. If they're like listing any GRE subject, you definitely want to take the GRE subject, not just like the general GRE. The writing was also pretty challenging for me. I think in the beginning, I mean, I got to know about like some examples of the essays, but then like trying to replicate it with your original thoughts in such a limited time was super challenging as well. And so I think it's just something you just have to like keep practicing on. And I think if you have somebody who you can trust to like give your writings and like kind of assess you, it would be really great, because like you can kind of see how you improve over time, what to improve in your writing and stuff. Um, but yeah, I think in the end, all about the stuff you just have to like practice over and over again. I'm so glad that like Zaki and I kind of have this like difference in learning style. It just kind of emphasizes of how like really only you who knows what's best for you when it comes to like practicing about this stuff. So like really listen to yourself, what works for you, what doesn't. Don't force the way you're studying. Like if there's a way where you're studying and you feel like you want to break off of it, just break off of it. Just like look for another routine that works for you. Just like kind of experiment with your methods. So,
Ya, thank you Kak Mayana. And then Kak Zaki mungkin ada sharing.
Iya, paling struggling ya. Sebenarnya yang paling struggling tuh emang sama sih verbal sih. Mungkin commonly orang Indonesia lah ya. Quant kita biasanya lebih jago dari people in the West. Tapi kayak verbal itu lumayan struggling karena kita nggak native English. Dan ya jadi sama verbal juga yang skor yang naik terus gitu ya. Dari empat kali ngambil tes, math itu stabil tinggi terus, verbal yang dari jelek lama-lama naik gitu. Specifically sebenarnya verbal itu bagian di GMAT itu sentence correction ya. Itu susah banget karena kayak kita harus ngelihat structure kalimat gitu, teks, terus kayak mana yang salah gitu kayak gitu. Jadi harus benar-benar paham grammar English, semua nitty-gritty kayak comparison, kata hubung dan lain-lain lah, idiom. Tapi ya untungnya di GMAT Focus Edition yang terbaru, sentence correction itu dihilangin ya. Mungkin karena emang bias terhadap non-English speaker, jadi itu dihilangin. Jadi harusnya ya lebih mudah mungkin, at least buat kita yang bukan native speaker untuk ambil GMAT. Terus mungkin touch a bit buat learning style. Ya kalau kalau gue emang orangnya suka belajar sendiri, dan jadi it works for me. But again, if you feel you need help belajar sama orang gitu, mungkin bisa take bimbel. Terus juga soal timing, karena mungkin at least at that time like GMAT is very hard for me, at least it's a marathon, so I never force myself to study if I feel I'm not, I'm really tired, or like I have too much thing in my mind. I just don't like force myself to study and just let it go. because it's a it's a marathon. I think it's a long-term study.
Thank you, Kak, Zaki. They both have a good insight from the questions. And then I think I do want to ask another question. The question is, does retaking the test look back on your application? Mungkin kayak follow up-nya kayak ada nggak sih di satu waktu kayak mungkin di interview atau di application kayak nanya udah berapa kali ngambil tesnya, kalau misalnya kebanyakan itu tuh does it look bad on your application? Mungkin kita bisa start dari Kak Melina lagi ya.
I'm not sure if I can answer to that question because I only ever take that test once. But I don't think that would like make it bad. If anything, I think that would actually look good on your application. It just shows like I think like if I'm working on an admission and I look at Zaki's application, I would be impressed. Like, wow, like this dude's really serious in applying to this school and like he really does improve. Like it just tells you how you are as a person. It's like an addition to like another dimension to look at a person from your essay, from like your application bundle. Like this person's willing to like take this many tests and like he succeeds in that. But yeah, that's all I can say about it since I only took the test once.
Yeah. Yeah, I took multiple times. I don't think it matters. Because like, test score like GMAT is only one part of your application. A lot of other things also matter, your profile, your work experience, your essay, recommendation. So test score is just one thing. And I actually never being asked about, why do you take GMAT multiple times? It just never occurred during any interaction with the school. So I think it doesn't matter, and you just keep improving and give your best. Although there are a lot of, if you read in forum online, there will be some people who are like overthink or like too worried about whether I will be looked bad if I give out like a bad score to the schools and I take multiple times. But I think it's just it doesn't matter. Once you pass certain marks of your standard tests like GMAT or GRE, I think the other aspect of your application matter more than taking multiple tests.
Yeah, thank you Kak Zaki sama Kak Meliana. Yeah, another question is, okay, so as we know, Kazaki sama Kak Melana have a different approach, cara belajar dari GRE and GMAT. I mean like this test, they have different approach. Kalau nggak salah Kazaki itu approach-nya lebih ke self study, and then Kak Melana lebih ke like courses kayak di apa ikut courses buat belajar ini. Belajar GRE-nya. Jadi aku mau nanya, is there like any pros and cons dari approach masing-masing biar kayak orang lihat, oh mungkin ini approach yang dia cari atau ini bukan approach yang dia cari. Mungkin kita bisa start dari Kak Meliana dulu ya.
Let's see. I think so like the program that I enrolled, it only lasts for like a month. So it's not like I entirely had help from them. So I would say my studying approach is more of like a hybrid. Because it's like I I think I just looked it up yesterday, like when I started the course. I think I started preparing in July, but the program at a time, they only have like the program like once every other month or so. And so I started the program in August, and I think it really helped me in a way where like as I told you, as I mentioned earlier, like there are some questions that tricky that do you think you know how to approach the question, but it turned out otherwise. And so enrolling at a test, sorry, in a course, I think helps me in a way where like I get to identify some patterns, and so it really helped me answer the questions more quickly than if like I didn't know that. I mean, I probably would still be able to do that quickly only if like I have like enough practices. So that just like kind of speed up my learning process, learning some of those tricks. And then after that, like I studied on my own after the course program ended. I started on my own, and it's like the lessons still stick on me, and so I was able to like still making progress even though I'm not enrolled in the course anymore. Um, but the only cons to that is just probably that um I mean it takes time. Like you can't like study anywhere. Like you have to go to this certain place in order for you to take the course. So it's just like take some time for you. Meanwhile, if you like study at home, you can like spend an hour that you spend commuting to just like an extra time for studying. So I think that's the only downside. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. I think that's the only cons out of it. And of course, like you also have to like spend more money to pay for the course. But that I feel like it's really worth it. In fact, if I could go back in time and change what I did, I probably would like enroll in that course like twice. So like I would do it in the beginning, and then I did like some self-studying for a month, and then I enrolled that. And then right after that program ended, I would take the actual test, because at the end of that program, there's actually a mock test, and it's like a real time, like with real timing and all of that. So you can kind of know what your score is before you actually take the test. And also, like, I think I don't know if this applies to a lot of people, but I'm the kind of person who maybe kind of lose momentum if I like have the same routine for a very long time. And so like if I prepare for that for like longer than I expected to, and maybe like having myself enroll in that course would kind of force me to like still studying, because like, well, you already have paid for that, and so you just might as well just like come to the course and like just keep studying until the date of your test. So
Yeah, I think for me, I've been like self starter, or like, I love to study by myself even since like I was in middle school, in high school, undergrad. I just I just never find the teachers, at least in Indonesia, is like useful. So I don't really study from the class. I study by myself, and it's just built in my habit. Even though like in Yale, obviously the professors are excellent and I learn a ton from them, but at least back home in Indonesia, it's not the case. So I used to study by myself, and that's was like passed on until even like during the GMAT prep, I just study by myself. But one of my friend actually, he also doing MBA at INSEAD. He take the Pascal course, same as Meliana, and he said it was good, and he actually get the score that he wants only by taking the test like twice. So he is a lot more efficient than me. I took 4 times, he only take twice. I think maybe because he take the course and he, earn faster than me from the more experienced people. And even though you pay some money, of course, to enroll to the test, but I also give out like more money because I took more tests. So I think it just depends on your learning style. You know, after all of your school years, you know what's the best course of action for you to study. And if you kind of someone who like study alone by yourself, maybe you should self study. But if you someone who appreciate, classes on like bimbel less, on like study together with your friends, maybe like taking course would be more efficient for you.
Yep. Thank you, Kazaki and Kak Melina for the answer. And then I think I have one or two questions. The next two questions gonna be more casual questions. Ini lebih ke journey or lebih ke experience Kak Zaki and Kak Meliana di kuliah sebagai graduate student di US. Okay, so the question is, what inspired you to do a grad school, especially in the US? And then how's life so far in the US as a grad student? Mungkin kita boleh mulai dari Kak Zaki dulu ya sekarang.
Iya, iya. Again, gue juga baru ya di US ya. Baru tahun pertama, berangkat baru Agustus tahun lalu, jadi belum ada setahun di sini. Kenapa pingin sekolah di US ya? Of course karena US is the best in the business school at least. Kalau di business school ada di UK, di Europe, tapi ya kayak quality life, jaringan alumni, mungkin business school di US itu another level lah bisa dibilang. Makanya apply-nya cuma ke US aja waktu itu, dan alhamdulillah dapat DL. So far experience-nya positif sih ya, tentunya positif lah ya. In a way profesor-profesornya sangat inspiring dan mereka kayak passionate banget sama bidang yang mereka ajar. Jadi belajar banyak, gue belajar banyak di kelas dari profesor-profesor di Yale. Kemudian juga lingkungan teman-temannya gitu ya. Yale itu apa ya? Mungkin ada image gitu, business school kadang-kadang isinya orang-orang yang party, A type, alpha type gitu. Tapi di Yale orang-orangnya lumayan chill. Jadi at least buat buat gue ya, yang culture dari orang Indonesia gitu, lebih masuk sih, lebih fit gitu ya, lebih bisa uh, mingle sama mereka, sama teman-teman di Yale Business School, di Yale SOM. Soal positif, dan background mereka juga ya lumayan ini lah, lumayan ngeri gitu bisa dibilang ya. Jadi kayak ada yang misalnya backgroundnya udah kerja di PE, di hedge fund, atau kayak pernah bikin startup, atau kayak bapaknya punya perusahaan apa gitu. Jadi kayak banyak belajar juga dari mereka gitu. Bahkan ada yang salah satu classmates itu dia dokter gitu, MD, terus dia ngambil double degree Yale Law School sama Yale MBA gitu. Kayak udah MD, lawyer, MBA itu kayak insane kan. Tapi again, jadi kita belajar banyak juga dari teman-teman di sekitar kita gitu. Dan itu perks kalau kita join business school yang oke, yang top business school itu. Selain belajar dari profesornya, kita belajar juga dari teman-teman yang you know backgroundnya, kita bisa belajar banyak dari mereka.
Cool. All
Ya,
right.
Kak Meliana.
Yeah, I can start answering. The motivation. Okay, so I can't say this without telling you about what I'm studying and what my research is at. So I'm currently studying well, my research back in my master's is mostly or fully about carbon capture and storage. It's sort of like a technology where you capture CO2 and you try to store them underground. And my major is in geophysics, so I'm really like into the subsurface. And so I just thought that at the time when I first heard about it, that technology just sounds really cool. But unfortunately, at the time, I wasn't able to find anywhere in Indonesia where I can learn more about it. And also, fun fact, US is not actually like my target. So the way that I looked for school for my grad school at the time, I was just like looking at carbon capture and storage research and like which school is doing such a research in. Turn out that UT has this research group that's just like doing very, very comprehensive research in a lot of aspects of it, from like the geoscience, engineering, the policy, the economics. So I just felt like if I really want to learn about carbon capture and storage, I gotta learn from this research group. And so I was fortunate to get accepted to UT, and also get to do their research with their research group. And right now, my PhD is actually being co-funded by that research group and this other research group that's studying about the earthquake that's been happening in West Texas, and its connection with oil and gas operations. So like trying to get the learnings from this oil and gas operations for carbon capture and storage. So my main point is that I think at this point, I don't think I can get anywhere else where I can like get more comprehensive research in the fields that I really want other than at UT. And if UT is located somewhere else, I would probably go to that university instead, to that country instead of the US. But fortunately and also unfortunately, UT Austin is in the United States. Not saying that I'm not happy where I am right now, but having lived here for certain years where there have been like some changes in administration, I can say that this is probably not the best year to be here. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I have my community here, all my friends live here, and even moving out of Austin, just the thought of moving out of Austin is like kind of hard for me because just like a lot of my friends live in Austin, and so just like if I have to move somewhere else, it's just like a hard time. So when I got accepted at UT again, it's sort of like it's sort of like some sort of relief that like, oh, at least I get to be here like in the next 5 years. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been good. And I think so when after I graduated from UT, I actually had a chance to work in like a national lab in California, and then I got a job offer from a company in California as well, or the headquarters in California, but I ended up moving back to Austin. And it was like a role in consulting. So I was basically a consultant. And I think during the time that I was working as a consultant, it sort of kind of made me realize that I really have this deep passion on research. And it's sort of like, I think if I didn't have that job, I probably would not have realized that, and like would still kind of searching for like what I want to do in life. I mean, not that I have it all figured out, but at least I know that I really like research, and I get to do this thing that I really love and get paid for it for the next 5 years and get a PhD degree out of it. So I think I would say I'm living the dream. I don't know what I'm gonna do after PhD, but I'm hoping that I get to still do like similar thing like this, research and stuff. Because I think not that I'm looking down on any other research, but it just feels so good to like do like being so immersed in research that's like all sciencey and stuff, but you also get to see that your science is actually applicable to like everyday's life. And yeah, there's just like a sense of fulfillment in all of it. And I don't know. I mean, again, when I was in Indonesia, I worked for oil and gas. It was cool and stuff. But I think if I continue to live that life, I don't think I would feel as fulfilled as I am living my life right now. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kazaki and Kamena, again for answering that question. So yeah, the last question, again, this is a really casual question. It will be nice for you guys if you have like words of encouragement for Indonesian students that are interested in pursuing similar path as Kazaki and Kak Meliana. Especially buat yang tertarik baru mau masuk atau baru mau tes GRE on GMAT, or yang in the process of applying GRE and GMAT to their grad school. Yuk, kita boleh mulai dari Kak Zaki dulu.
Ya, specifically kalau buat business school ya, buat teman-teman yang mau ambil MBA itu bukan graduate school yang belajar banget. Jadi MBA itu emang kayak lebih ke manajemen, lebih broad, jadi kayak beda gitu. Mungkin kalau graduate school lain lebih spesifik dari S1 gitu. Kalau MBA itu malah jadi lebih luas lagi dari S1 gitu. belajar tentang bisnis overall. Jadi um, approach-nya memang MBA itu lebih kayak melatih orang buat manage bisnis, karena bisnis itu kan multidimensional yang harus dikonsider banyak ya. Jadi itu satu hal yang harus teman-teman pahami, bahwa kalau di MBA bukan berarti kayak lebih fokus ke satu hal itu, malah makin kemana-mana, makin lebar. Dengan politik, ekonomi, bisnis, manajemen, marketing, supply chain, dan lain-lain. Terus yang kedua, MBA itu objektifnya emang biasanya orang buat switch career atau kayak buat advancing career. Dan MBA cuma sekali gitu ya. Jadi sebelum taking MBA, pastikan kayak teman-teman punya work experience, brand names, atau kayak objektif yang udah clear. Karena kalau enggak, sayang gitu, MBA-nya tidak tereksploitasi dengan baik gitu ya. Apa ada value MBA nggak bisa di capture gitu. Jadi pastikan sebelum teman-teman ambil MBA, think about what have you achieved so far, what's your experience, do you have any credentials in yourself, and can you apply to top business school? And even like when you study in business school, can you compete with other people to get like a job that you want, and compete, with top applicants? Because I think the real battle is not about getting into business school. The real battle is actually like going out of business school, whether you got the objective or like the job or career that you want. Yeah, so anything true about it?
Uh, Word of encouragement. I guess I'm coming from a place of passion. Like at a time when I was thinking of doing grad school, well, I did the grad school in 2019, and it's because of this carbon capture and storage. And the first time I heard about it was in 2015. So it's like 4 years in the making, and it's not like I'm continuously working towards it. It's like on and off. But I guess like if you really like set your mind on something and you really want to do it, I think you'll make a way to do it. Like no matter how much of an obstacle that you're gonna get through. Like I remember I was not the brightest student at all. Like when I was in bachelor, I didn't graduate with a cum laude, and there's only like 12 female students in my cohort, and like all 10 of these female cohorts of mine, they all graduate with a cum laude. And so like when I told people like, oh yeah, I really want to do this carbon capture and storage, people laugh at me like, oh, so visionary and all the stuff. And I was just like, so what? So yeah, I'm not saying like everything is magical and all this stuff, but um yeah, I just think that if you have something that you really, really want to achieve, don't ever think of it as such an impossible thing to achieve. Um, because you just don't know. Like some people just don't see what other people can see. Like in this case, maybe my professors in my undergrad who like wouldn't believe that I would be able to like do a research in carbon capture and storage didn't see what my professors at UT see in me. So yeah, if you think that you're stuck on something, maybe you just haven't found your way yet, and it's not that it's impossible to reach. You just haven't found a way to make your way yet. So
So yeah, that's gonna be my last question for today's sharing session. So yeah, again, thank you Kak Zaki and Kak Melana for the time today. It was super insightful. Me personally, I got a lot of things from Kak Zaki and Kak Melana. Jadi semoga teman-teman yang ada di YouTube juga belajar banyak dari Kak Melana dan Kak Zaki. And of course, kita juga udah tag Kak Zaki and Kak Meliana in our Instagram. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to them to ask any GRE or GMAT questions. So yeah, hope to see you in our next PERMIAS National event.
sure, thanks for having me. Bye.
Udah offline, udah.